Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. For those that are online, we're excited to have you here as we kick off this Making a Difference, Making a Living conference. My name is Larry Purcell, graduate of Castleton State College, 72. My degree was in business, and for my career, I'm retired now. I was a chief estimator for a large construction company. So at present, I am the president of the Castleton Alumni Association and its board of directors. We are independent from Vermont State University, unlike the other councils on the other campuses. My connection with Kelly is, again, as being on the board of directors. Kelly is also a member of our board of directors on the Castleton Alumni Association. She is a great asset with her intelligence, her voice of reason that she adds. It kind of keeps everyone online sometimes when I go off track. She's a valuable member, and I'm sure going to be a future leader for the Castleton Alumni Association after some of us have to, will be stepping down. So to give you some information on Kelly. Kelly Mesler is the founder and CEO of Everwell Consulting. Throughout her career, she has been dedicated to helping people strengthen their well-being through practical, evidence-based skills. Kelly's journey began with working in banking and earning her degree in psychological science with a certificate in civic engagement from Castleton University. Even as a student, she was creating and leading programs that brought emotional intelligence and community building practices into campuses and classroom life. After graduation, Kelly spent more than 7 years with Maximize Your Talent, a coaching and consulting firm focused on integrating emotional intelligence into the workplace. She took on several leadership roles, developing programs, leading operations, consulting for clients, and supporting companies' growth. When the firm's owner retired in 2024, Kelly founded Everwell Consulting as a natural step in that mission. The inspiration came from her own experience with burnout, realizing that success without well-being isn't sustainable. That insight shaped Everwell's purpose to help individuals and teams align how they think, feel, and act in order to thrive. Today, Kelly leads Everwell's strategic direction in client partnerships, connecting people with experts who turn insight into meaningful, lasting change. He is also a Colby certified consultant and trained in leadership tools, including the Influence Style Indicator and Talent Smart 360. Please join me in welcoming Kelly Mesler.
Thank you, Larry. Informative. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I remember sitting in your position just, several short years ago. I was trying to balance classes and extracurriculars, a social life, and still somewhere trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life and what my future would look like. Throughout my college career, and as I started to approach graduation, I truly thought and believed that that success meant having all the answers, knowing what my career plan was going to be, having a really well thought out path towards that, obviously a stable job, certain type of job. And actually, at many times, I had that, and it still didn't feel quite right. Looking back, it was in those moments where I started to question what the status quo was, where I didn't really have all the answers, that truly shaped my path. In those moments, I learned to trust myself. I learned to trust my intuition, follow my interests and my curiosity and where that led. And I did that even when the path ahead wasn't quite clear. As Larry said, I graduated from Castleton in 2017. I got my bachelor's in psychological science and a certificate in civic engagement. Shout out to Crispin White. I believe he's here somewhere, and he really helped shape that path for me. Now I'm the founder and CEO of Everwell Consulting. Again, Larry, thank you for the background information so I can skip over some of this, but we are a boutique consulting firm and we're really helping businesses, teams, leaders thrive through evidence-based practices in well-being. We integrate emotional intelligence and well-being as a business strategy. It's I believe, a strategic and effective business strategy to create cultures where people perform at their best because they feel their best. What a concept, right? But again, I learned through burnout in my own experience that even when on paper everything looks great, if it doesn't feel great, it's not sustainable. We work with organizations across all industries across the United States, internationally as well. We have some clients in London, have worked with clients in India, Italy, and beyond. And we're working with Fortune 500 companies, small local businesses, and really everything in between. So this is unlike a lot of other businesses where you find a really specific target audience. With what we do, really it's applicable across all industries, which is so cool. I get to work with landscaping companies and plumbing companies, and then I get onto another call with a hedge fund in Chicago. So it's really exposed me to a lot of different people, different backgrounds. We, all of our programs and services are developed by leading psychologists. So of course my background in psych and my interest in business helps, but it's not just me, it's my team of renowned psychologists, best-selling authors, business leaders, neuroscientists, clinical psychologists, just really, really incredible people that make Everwell shine. Our work, to me, is a true privilege. I feel lucky and remind myself how grateful I am to have my dream job every day. Not just is it a dream job, but I really get to help our clients experience more well-being. So it makes me feel like I am making a difference. And that's more well-being in their professional lives. Of course, we're working in the corporate world, but it's in their personal lives as well. That's really the most rewarding to me is when people say, this helped me look at my marriage differently. This helped my relationship with my children. So it's not just helping in their professional lives. And my career exploration journey, we'll call it, started at Castleton as an undergrad student, just trying to figure out if there was a way to blend my interests, my passions, and what I was actually good at. I knew I wanted to make a difference. And of course, I wanted to make a good living as well. And that is what led me here. Actually, my college journey started at Johnson & Wales. Not many people know this, but I know, shocking. I went to Johnson & Wales for my freshman year, and that's in Providence, Rhode Island. I was studying psychology, rushing a sorority, meeting a lot of really cool new people in the city, having a lot of cool new experiences. I grew up in Quechee, Vermont, just about an hour or so from here. So it was really different living in the city. I visited cities a lot, knew that I loved the feeling and the energy that a city brings, but I really quickly found out that I did not like living in the city. Again, on paper, everything looked great. You were to see my Facebook, right? Everything was like, she's doing something new every weekend. I was getting straight A's, just meeting really interesting people. And I was having fun, but something felt off. Something definitely felt off. I would come home to visit and I realized, wow, I feel like I'm home here. And it wasn't a feeling of homesickness. It was definitely a feeling of, I think I'm meant to live in a place that aligns more with my values. I missed the privacy, the safety, the connection to nature that I had in Vermont. Academically, I didn't feel very connected to the psych program there. Again, I had straight A's, but I wasn't really challenged. I would talk to my professors about what I was going to do in the future. And it was really just do the coursework, and we'll see. So I made a plan to transfer to UNH or UVM. That's what I had my sights set on. I applied, I was deciding between the two, and I knew I was moving in the right direction to get back to Vermont, New Hampshire. But again, something just felt a little off. I don't know how else to explain it besides something like in here just felt off. So one weekend I came to visit a friend. Like I said, I grew up in Quechee, so a lot of people from high school went to Castleton. One of the reasons why I did not want to go to Castleton, I wanted to, make a space for myself somewhere else. So I came to visit that friend. Again, no expectation, just want to make that clear of coming to Castleton. And she introduced me to one of her roommates who was a psych student and was just raving about the program. Loved the psych program, loved her professors. She actually texted one of her professors right then and there and asked if they would meet me before I left campus for the weekend. And within a minute, they texted her back and said, yeah, sure, have her stop by tomorrow at 9 a.m. Right then in that moment, I even get chills talking about it. I just knew, I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. This is really different. And this is the feeling that I'm looking for. It really was such a small thing, but it showed me that something here is different. The next day, I met with that professor. I learned about Castleton's psych department and also just their whole hands-on approach to learning. The opportunities that Castleton offered for students, I was able to get credit to study piano and French and some other interests like women's spirituality and Native American history that I knew I wasn't going to really have a career in any of those topics, but those were just things that interested me. And I was able to get credit and explore those interests further. Needless to say, I applied to transfer to Castleton that very day. I was accepted pretty much immediately and enrolled in the next semester. And at the time, I felt 110% about that decision. I was questioned by almost everyone in my life, if not everyone. I can't think of one person that said, amazing, go for it. We're so happy for you. My parents are wonderful, right? And they will support me no matter what. But them and most other adults and friends in my life just could not understand why I would transfer from a big, well-known school to a small school that not many people had heard about. But again, I just knew right here, something felt right, and I was going for it. So once I got here, I definitely started to feel more at peace with that decision. Slowly but surely, it wasn't perfect. I don't want to minimize. There were growing pains, credits transferring over. I had to be on credit overload to graduate on time. There was a lot in terms of moving and finding housing, right? So I don't want to minimize any of that, but truly my professors were personal, they were engaging. I started to really build relationships with my classmates. The classrooms were small, intimate, more connected. I was encouraged to pursue, as I said, Kristen White, a certificate in civic engagement, something I didn't even know existed. I got involved in community projects that mattered to me. I was pretty intertwined into the Castleton community, for sure, during my time here. And that enabled me to add accomplishments, titles like co-founder of this program or president of the psych club, things that I could add to my resume. But even more importantly, not what was on paper, was real experience where I could figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. And I got to start making connections and start networking, which is very important. It was around this time that I was finding my footing at Castleton that I started to understand my plan did not need to make sense to anyone else but me. After all, I am the one who has to live my own life. And that beautiful things can happen when you listen to your intuition, even if the path is unclear when you're making those decisions. So as I started to approach graduation, which I know we've got some high schoolers here, I'm sure we have some college students who eventually will get to that point. I thought that I had my next step figured out. Again, I'm a planner, so I was planning to enroll in the school psych program at Castleton. It was the natural next step. It definitely made sense. It was strongly encouraged and recommended by all my professors and professional advisors at the time. But again, that same feeling just crept back in and was telling me, I don't know if this is right for you, but I was moving forward with it. Again, had to have a plan. Graduation's coming up. Everyone's asking, what are you going to do? So that was my plan. And that was what I started to tell people. I did talk it through with some mentors, with some connections that I had in career services. I used to go on regular walks with Dean Ingrid, and we would all talk about, I would share with them how I was feeling. I'm just not quite sure that this is the path for me. A few weeks actually before the school psych program was set to start, I got an email from Renee, who was the head of career services at the time. And she said to me, there is an alumni from the Castleton class of 1964, Art DiLorenzo, who started a company using emotional intelligence to improve workplace performance. This was the first time I had heard of a company using emotional intelligence. I had studied emotional intelligence. I would light up every time I would read about it. Really, this was my true passion, but I didn't even think anything existed. And I did talk to my professors about it, and they reinforced that. Nothing exists. There's no career in emotional intelligence. It's something you study, right? And so, of course, Renee said, I think you should just send them an email, apply for an internship, even though nothing's open, right? Just to get some experience in your field of interest and see if you want to go down this path. So naturally, I emailed them and applied. And the timing was wild. After a very long interview process, I was not sure why I was being interviewed for hours and hours. They ended up sharing with me that their director of operations suddenly was leaving, really unexpectedly. And they asked if I could step into the role. That meant not going to grad school. It meant taking a very big risk, working remotely. This is in 2017. No one was working remote, working remotely for a company based out of New York City with clients all across the world. So this meant a lot of travel. At the time, I was not a skilled traveler. Now I can say I can do it in my sleep and have a lot of travel experience. And even more importantly, it was a lot of responsibility, right? Director of operations of a company. I had stuff on my resume that was in our community founding and coordinating for different projects, but by no means did I have any management experience. So I did not let any of that stop me. Obviously, I took the job. He told me to think about it, and I do what nobody should ever do. And I just answered right then and there, yes, I'll do it. And over the next several years and up until recently, I worked for that company, Maximize Your Talent. We grew significantly during my time with them. We launched new services. I built relationships with clients and colleagues and got an incredibly valuable experience that truly shaped who I am today as a professional. Late last year, the owner decided to retire. I had a really big choice to make, probably the biggest choice yet, which was, do I buy the company as it was, become majority owner, or do I start fresh? And the choice was truly obvious to everyone, myself included. I buy the company, right? It's less risk. It's safer. It's already established. It just makes sense. It had also been my tentative plan. Again, I'm a planner. And my plan, everyone would say, what's your plan? As soon as Art retires, I will take over the company. So I was encouraged by almost everyone to buy it, explaining all the reasons why it would be easier, safer, and just overall the right decision. But again, that feeling crept up and I didn't know why. I was just feeling like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but I wasn't all in, right? I still explored all the options, right? We went into negotiations, we met with attorneys. I really, truly had an open mind and thought that that was going to be my next step. But ultimately, pretty much right at the last minute, I realized that I do want to start fresh with something that's authentic to me, rather than having to change what already existed. It actually seemed easier and more exciting and motivating to build something new, right? This MY2 is about 20 years old. So something that was founded in the early 2000s, it just wasn't quite, I thought, evolving with the times. And I really, again, wanted it to feel authentic to me. So exactly 1 year ago today, I think it was November 5th, today's the 6th, I started Everwell Consulting. And the decision was hard. I absolutely, again, I don't want to minimize the challenges that I had to overcome, the hard work that it took to get here. It's been a long year, but now that I'm standing on the other side, I can really truly say that I'm so proud of myself for making that decision, making every decision that led me here, even when it was a little hard to do so. And I've never felt more aligned with what I meant to do. So that's essentially been the pattern for my whole life. Every time that I let go of what looks right and trust what feels right, the next door opens and leads to something that's even more beautiful than what I ever could have imagined than what looked right in the first place. So I want to take questions, but before I just want to share some lessons that I learned along the way. Well, first, I want to recognize that I would not be standing here today. I would not be the CEO of Everwell Consulting if it wasn't for Castleton. I am literally on a first name basis, just talked with Dr. Fred Luskin on the phone yesterday. He's my mentor. He works with me. I remember reading about him in textbooks at Castleton. So I've had a lot of those full circle moments, and I will never forget where I came from, that this community truly changed my life. The professors, the staff, the alumni, the community members, they really do all care for you so much. They cared enough to guide me, to mentor me, to take a chance on me at times, and taught me that education isn't what you learn in class, it's who you're learning it with, and more importantly, is how are you going to apply it. So my first little word of wisdom here is to act on the opportunities while you have them, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, getting involved, talking to your professors, volunteering, saying yes to internships, even the unpaid ones. I promise I worked probably too many unpaid internships, drove up and down the mountain, right? Gas money, even working with kids, I would just go and get arts and crafts supplies and bake brownies and truly just wanted to do the best I could. There was no reimbursement offered to me, right? That wasn't just a part of my experience. It helped me at the very least figure out what I didn't like or what I did like. And at the very best, it connected me with people and experiences that would change the trajectory of my entire career. One of my Castleton professors, who was the chair of the psych department at the time, Dr. Bergen, he ingrained agency into our curriculum. I know you know, yeah. Agency, for those of you who don't know, is a sense of control that you feel over your life. It's your capacity to influence your own thoughts, behaviors, and reactions. And it's ultimately having faith in your ability to handle the situations that are in front of you. He notoriously reminded students that it was our responsibility to control our reactions and to take actions on the things that mattered to us. So this could look like applying for an internship that doesn't exist and just reaching out to the company just because you're interested in them. It could be networking. I recently had someone reach out to me I hadn't talked to in a couple of years, and she asked if she could come to Woodstock and buy me coffee just to get advice. And now when we have an opening at Everwell, she's going to be the first person that I'm thinking of, right? It also just looks like showing up in any position. This could be like a student work position. This could be volunteering. No matter how small the position is, again, even if it's unpaid work, and just doing the best that you can with that opportunity that's right in front of you. When you are an A+ intern, the company might consider you eventually for a larger role. When you're an exceptional volunteer, even if it's a nonprofit and there's no job opportunity in the future, the contacts of the organization can write you letters of recommendation. They can introduce you to people in their network. You really never know where these opportunities lie. And I believe that they're in every interaction that you have, especially in higher education. My next word of wisdom is that you know yourself best. This was very true in my journey, but I do believe, because I do a lot of coaching and consulting for individuals, that self-awareness is the most important skill, especially when you're young, to start to develop so you can write your own story. We can absolutely respect and listen to the opinions of our professors, our parents, our advisors, our mentors. But at the end of the day, you have to live with your decisions. It's you that has to decide when something feels right or when something feels off. So explore what's important to you, not to me, not to others, and let that guide your decisions and your journey. You learn through experience, so it's absolutely okay to pivot and change your mind. My first internship was in a kindergarten classroom. I was 1,000% sure I was going to be a kindergarten teacher. And then at the end of the internship, I was 1,000% sure I was not going to be a kindergarten teacher. And it's okay. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to change your mind. It's your life. You're allowed to design it yourself and continue to follow what feels right and know when to walk away from what feels off. Every experience will help you understand yourself better. what you like, who you are, and most importantly, show up authentically as so. The next word of wisdom I have is discomfort is growth. So moments where we feel scared, uncomfortable, or unsure, we are often right in the middle of growing. So this is a huge paradigm shift, I know for me, but a lot of the youth that I mentor as well. Learning something new will make you feel dumb when it's actually making you smart. Working out, just think, makes you feel weak, but it's actually making you stronger. Even investing makes you feel like you're losing money, but in the long run, you're making more money. So growth is not meant to feel good all the time. It means change is happening, and change is meant to be uncomfortable. So again, it's a paradigm shift that these two things go hand in hand, right? Discomfort is growth. And hopefully that perspective can help you navigate some challenges with a more balanced perspective and attitude. And with that, my last promise, my last little word of wisdom is to embrace the uncertainty, because you do not always know what's next. That's absolutely okay. That's normal. Even now, I'm well established in my career. Yes, I have plans for Everwell. I don't know exactly what's next, right? And that's kind of a part of the fun. You don't need to have a full plan. You just have to know which step you're going to take next. It could lead you to another experience, and then that could lead you to a connection with someone. That could lead you to a job opportunity. Maybe you don't like the job, leads you to an idea that you have. You want to start something, right? Every single experience is really meant to shape your future. So this would be my kind of like homework, if you will, would be to build a 5-year plan. This is specifically one that I use with young adults. And another situation I use it is when I'm doing strategic planning with some of our consultant clients. This is not your usual 5-year plan, right? This is a 5-year plan setting intentions on how you want to feel 5 years from now. So not, I'm going to work at this job, I'm going to make this amount of money. That's great. You want to include that, that's fine. What I really want you to focus on is, how are you going to feel? Do you feel financially free? Do you feel physically healthy? Do you feel emotionally healthy? Do you feel at peace? Are you living in the city? Are you living by the beach? Are you surrounded by mountains? Is it warm? Is it cold? Things that you feel, I want you to focus on those and get specific about what's important to you. Is it helping people? Is it creativity? Maybe it's sports. Maybe you want to be working outside in nature. Maybe that's really important to you. Maybe like me, I didn't really know what the future held, but I knew I wanted to do purpose-aligned work. I knew I wanted to help people, but I had no idea what that was going to look like. Maybe this is stability and a solid routine. Again, note the type of environment you're in. As many feelings that you can capture, write them down, and write down what it's like to wake up and have a perfect day living in those shoes. And then this is where you just kind of let the magic play out, stay curious, open-minded, and unattached to how this story will specifically play out. But I want you to truly believe that this is your future. 5 years from now, this is how I will feel. I have no attachment over how it's going to happen. I just know that this is how I'm going to feel. Put that down and then continue to follow your intuition. Exercises like this help us visualize what we really want rather than what looks good on paper. But it also scientifically is programming your subconscious to make decisions that align with your future self. And at the same time, I want us all to remember, this is one of my favorite Buddhist principles, that here is just another form of there. So I don't want you to think that, okay, 5 years from now, that sounds great, I'll be happy then, right? Focus on finding your contentment now rather than putting it off until a certain accomplishment happens. and really do the best that you can. I know I say this a lot, but do the best you can in the position that you are in now. You never know who's watching. You never know who you're going to meet. In my experience, that is how my entire career took shape, was just me trying to do the best I could, even if it was like a bake sale. Like truly, that is where I first met Renee, was at a bake sale. And she thought I was really passionate about what I was, raising money for. That's how we hit it off. Visualization exercises like this, again, they help you show up now, embodying your higher self rather than holding it over your head until you reach a certain milestone. So as I close, and again, happy to answer questions. I'm always happy to talk about what I do and how I got here. But one program we have at Everwell, our signature program, it's called Inner Compass. And there's, again, a lot of science behind it, a lot of psychologists who run the program. It's not necessarily me, but of course I'm a co-creator of the program. And I want you all to just reflect that you all have your own inner compass. Mine led me here to a career built around transforming teams and organizations through well-being and emotional intelligence. Again, this is a combination, a career that did not exist, right? I kind of made it for myself, is what I tell people. Yours will lead you somewhere that is entirely your own. It could be tech, art, education, athletics, the trades, healthcare. Most likely it's going to be a unique blend of your passions that only you can create. Really, no one else can know what's inside of you. No one else can feel that feeling that I keep explaining. You could try to explain it to people, but you're the one that feels it. What matters most is that your next step feels like you. You do not have to have it all figured out right now. Even as I stand here, I do not have it figured out right now. But when you follow what feels authentic to you, that will lead to experiences, connections, good and bad, that will ultimately pave the way for an aligned, more meaningful future. Thank you.
I don't see any questions in the chat right now, so if you have questions, go for it. And I have a few questions that I can pick your brain on.
Okay, yeah. Does anyone have any pressing questions? Sure.
Is Everwell more of a coaching company?
We do business consulting and coaching for executives. So our coaching and consulting.
Okay, so if I was a president of a corporation, how would I use your company?
Depends on your goals, right? Some companies are pretty well established already. Some are not. So it could be starting with an org chart, right? And getting clear on what are people's responsibilities? Does that align with the things that they actually like to do? That's usually where we start. A lot of personnel challenges, stress management, again, well-being as a business strategy. So we really infuse that into the culture. So it'll depend on the organization.
Can you really teach EQ though?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I started with a pretty high EQ. I was like, I'm going to go through the program, right, at MYT. It raised 10 points in a 3-month period. I have seen executives start with 60, which is very, very low. And again, that will look like even someone who's in their 60s, 70s, starting with a really, really low EQ. They're bringing us in because it's created a lot of conflict. It's created a lot of problems. And even then, 3 years later, they retest, they're in the 90s, right? So it can completely transform people's lives. Great question. Sure.
Is all your work top down? Does your field allow for folks in the middle of organizations to angle into?
Yeah, I would say we mostly focus on working with organizations. Top down is a great approach, right? Because it creates buy-in, and also we need our leaders to be showing up with well-being at the forefront. But absolutely, I mean, I've had clients have their children and their husbands, they're like, they have to go through the Inner Compass program, right? So it absolutely does not need to be through an entire organization.
Not certain on that because I never saw the transcripts, period.
You have a question, Johnson? Oh.
Other
I
questions?
just have one.
Yeah, please.
How do you deal with the different cultures? You said you got business in the UK. The UK culture is a little bit different.
It is, yeah.
Particularly at the executive level.
It is. I would like to think that I have cultural competence enough to get by, right? Honestly, the biggest thing is the time change. I would say, like that's been my biggest challenge with actually the client in India. That's why it didn't work out, was because there was like 1 hour a day where we could be, and it was 6 p.m. for me. So that wasn't sustainable. But yeah, I really truly believe that these are core skills that apply across generations, industries, and definitely cultures.
Are you,
Well, I was just gonna ask, I advise student government at Castleton, and I was just wondering, talking a lot about like, you know, like you said, showing up no matter what the role is, and just kind of being visible and taking advantage of opportunities when you're young and stuff. And I talked to, you know, our students about a lot of the same things, but I think I struggle to really like drive home the point that it's like, no, you don't understand. All you have to do is just kind of like be there. And I
Mhm.
promise like good things will
Yeah.
come from that. Are there any ways that you found, you know, where you can really make people understand, like, no, I'm not lying to you.
Right.
If you're just
Yeah.
there and if you just show your face,
Yeah.
you will get connections and then have opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same principle that I say to leaders in organizations, that every interaction can make or break your culture. Every interaction can make or break your future, right? So if you say you're going to do something and then you don't show up, that's a missed opportunity in my eyes. You're only cheating yourself, really. It's the same thing as when I'm working with leaders and they're like, we just had this issue the other day, so it's front of mind. Yeah, we want everybody to be on video, but this one person just keeps joining not on video. We keep announcing join on video. I'm like, well, have you spoken to them directly, right? And we had to have the conversation that it sends the message to everyone else on your team that it's okay when you say this is the standard and someone doesn't meet the standard. It's okay to just ignore that, and it's not going to be dealt with, right? So that just feels similar, where I would want them to realize that, again, it could be a fake sale. That's where I met Renee. Renee changed the trajectory of my entire career. So really every interaction can make or break their future. No pressure, right? I think I want it to be framed in a positive way, to just show up, and that can definitely open doors.
are you ever on site? It sounds like a lot of your work's on the wall.
Yeah, it totally depends, right? For like 2 years, I just completely was working remote. I would say I travel about every other month. And I also have a whole team of people, so they're doing a lot of the traveling as well. I used to just jump at every opportunity to go to New York City, and yeah, maybe created a little burnout, right? Traveling's a lot. Now that I'm in the CEO role, it doesn't always make sense to spend a half day traveling there and back, and then it's just missed work time. But I do think that in person is so important. So there are certain things like strategic sessions where absolutely I want to be there in person. Yeah. The demand is back for sure to be in person. Yeah.
So thinking back, are there any things that you would have done differently while you were in college that you wish you had done, but you didn't? No.
I would not change it then. Yeah. Even if I missed something, even if I made a mistake, I am just so grateful for where I'm at. And even going to Johnson and Wales, right?
Mhm.
There was a long time where I regretted that. Why did I do this? Again, now I'm on credit overload. This is exhausting. I was a non-traditional student because I was on credit overload. I didn't really get to have much of a social life. So maybe there was some regret back then, but now I'm like, absolutely no, everything worked out the way it's supposed to. Yeah.
Thank you. Larry, I think you have a gift to.
You do. One more comment. Excellent job. That was incredible. You mentioned the word risk. That really caught me, start your new corporation. And it just reminds me, it's kind of throwing out the younger people here, that someone once said the greatest risk that you can take in your life is not to take a risk. And you took a risk, and congratulations.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.